finals, baby. Woo! Week 15.
Week 14 matchups. Week 15 predictions.
Yes, that's what I meant.
Some crazy stuff happened.
So
We were watching the Monday night games, which was like about an hour or so ago. Monday night kind of surprised me, but also didn't surprise me in some ways. Patriots and Steelers. Steeler Nation.
Sick it.
You guys,
They in trouble.
well, I wouldn't say they're in trouble. I would say they're gonna have another 9-8 season just because Tomlin needs to have his not undefeated streak, his streak of how many winning seasons he's had. Tomlin's, if he wasn't on the Steelers, I think Tomlin would be on the hot seat, but that's just an opinion. Zappy looked like Tom Brady during that game.
The first half.
The first half. Elliott had his best game as a Patriot that game. Smith-Schuster, I think, had a really good game. Yeah.
Makes sense.
4 for 6, 90 yards. Henry got 3 for 3, 40 yards and 2 touchdowns. So he also had a field day. Trubisky, 22 for 35, 190, 1 pass touchdown, 1 rush, 1 interception. Johnson was the best player, 3 for 7, 57 yards and a touchdown and 2 sacks. I can't say I told you so because I couldn't tell if the Steelers were good this year or they were just winning off of luck, and now I've confirmed that they were just winning off of sheer luck and high-end talent. I watched Urinating Tree's perspective, and I agree with his. So.
Mike Tomlin makes me think that it's not luck, but kind of like organized chaos, and organized chaos, like it just, it goes their way sometimes. Their offense has not been good.
It's like Matt Canada wasn't the only problem. You really think they were going to win that game?
They had a chance.
But do you think they were gonna? I didn't.
More so well, you say that, but did you think the Patriots were going to win that game?
No.
Exactly. Either way, I am grateful for Patriots fans. Patriots and their fans, like the Cardinals last week. This is the second week that I've picked the Steelers to beat what should be an easy opponent, and then they lose, and I've been happy because I got it wrong because I hate the Steelers.
Gee, I wonder where that bias comes from. Anyway. I know. You poor Ravens fan.
Poor?
I got the Buccaneers and Falcons.
Game was close.
Tank division. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Mayfield had an okay day, 14 for 29, 144, 2 pass touchdowns and a rush touchdown. White actually had the best stats, 102 yards, 1 pass touchdown. On Falcons side, Ritter was 26 for 40, 347 yards, pass touchdown, a rush touchdown, and an interception. Robinson had 34 rush yards with a touchdown. London was 10 for 11, 172 yards. Pitts actually had a touchdown this week. That's about it. I'd say the most exciting thing from that game was Bill Goldberg. He showed up at some point during the game. I think it was during halftime or whatever it was. And he gets onto the field. All of a sudden, there's this fan that comes right at him, and he just grabs the fan and just body slams him, and then just starts hyping up the crowd. I couldn't tell if that was an actual fan who ran onto the field or if that was just staged, but I'm 99% sure it was staged. Regardless, that's the most exciting thing I think that I can remember from that game, which is kind of sad.
How much money would you have to get paid to run onto an NFL field as a presumed just
Fan.
as a fan just running the field
And then
just to
getting
get like suplexed.
absolutely bodied by a
How much
former
how much you gotta get?
WWE player.
How much you have to get paid?
You gotta
for
pay
that?
me money.
You gotta pay you
Like money.
I would take I'd do it for 200. I don't need that much because I just like running onto an NFL field alone would just be like a cool enough experience for me.
I need to be paid.
I'd probably get in trouble because I'd probably go and try and make it like too realistic, and I'd probably go up to him, "Ooh," and then maybe
and then,
accidentally juke him out of his shoes,
oof.
and then they'd be like,
You're supposed to just.
"You're
get
just supposed to
hit.
get decked. Stop!" Rather than me.
Stop it.
I'd be me. I'd fucking
No, bad. Anyways,
No, die. You lay there and you die.
tank division, back at it again. Literally a 3-way tie for 6 and 7 in that division.
I am very all for that chaos though. Like I have
It's
no idea what's going on.
Garbage chaos though.
I have no idea what's going on, but I'm so invested because it's just like it's so tight, and I'm curious. I want to see how it turns out. One of the things that I found interesting though is apparently Rashad White is over 1,000 rushing yards.
Yeah,
I think that was
he
the thing
broke
that
that.
surprised me because when I
He
looked at
didn't
him
do
earlier,
so hot earlier.
early in the season, he was getting like 20, 30 yards a game, and I was like,
well, that's because they were still trying to figure things out, offense-wise.
when I saw that, I was like, what did I miss? What? Yeah.
Well, he's kind of rebounded, so I'm good. I'm happy for him.
Wait, no.
Lions and Bears.
I can't say I'm surprised.
Yeah, with the trend that they were going, I guess I'm not surprised either. It's just how much the Bears put up against them was surprising. I guess that was the only situation I had
Bears
against
have
that.
been looking pretty decent though.
Fields has been leading them to a good streak of wins.
Fields is figuring his stuff out again.
No,
That
no
defense.
interceptions.
Well, yeah, and the way he's thrown. I don't know if you saw the free play touchdown he had to DJ Moore.
Yeah,
DJ Moore's doing so well.
yeah. He had a rush and a passing touchdown or receiving touchdown.
Yeah, he's turning out to be like what they
Wanted him to be.
Yeah, which is good for them.
Yeah.
But Fields is like, I loved seeing the free play touchdown because it's such a like veteran move.
Yeah.
It's such a veteran play. Is drawing the offsides and then acknowledging that, like realizing that and taking a deep shot.
And then just like, oh, we got it.
Yeah,
Sounds
it's like,
good.
that's
We'll
what you
take
want.
that.
That's what you want out of a quarterback is someone
Really,
just
it really
acknowledges
is.
that. So I'm like, I'm happy for Justin Fields because
They just
I
need
want
to
him
get
to
more
do well.
weapons.
and yeah, well, you get DJ Moore doing his job, and then you get like, what are you gonna do with the number 1 overall pick? Yeah, you do whatever you want, but say you take Marvin Harrison, offense is a little scary.
Lions, you better get your stuff together real soon, or it's gonna go looking real bad.
I don't think anyone's gonna take that division from them though.
No, unless something weird happens. Bengals and Colts.
Not surprised.
No, I'm not surprised either because I chose the Bengals to win this game.
I did too.
Browning is looking really well. 18 for 24, 275 yards, 2 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown, and 1 interception, which is, it's going to happen. Mixon
It
got a
wasn't his fault
touchdown.
either.
What?
That wasn't his fault either.
Mixon got a touchdown, Brown got a touchdown, and Hudson got a touchdown. And Hill got an interception on the Bengals side.
Mhm.
Colts side, Minshew did okay, 26 for 39, 240, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. The only touchdown on the Colts side receiving was Ali Cox. We got a
Cox.
yeah. Harrison Jr. got an interception. Somewhere during the game, I didn't watch this game. Minshew got hit pretty hard, and for some reason they didn't take him to the sideline to get like a concussion protocol procedure. I don't know why. So hopefully he's okay.
I didn't get to watch any of the games, except for the Monday night. But I was like following them, watching highlights and stuff, and that was one where I was just like, yeah, yeah, yeah. It was because it was just expected. Bengals are a good passing team, and the Colts don't have a good passing defense, and the Bengals have a good defense when they show up and play. So
Well, they've had a good defense for a while. It's underrated.
they've had a good defense. Sometimes they just sometimes they don't show up, but when they show up they're pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Probably one of the more underrated ones.
Browns and Jaguars.
Trevor
Honestly-
Lawrence played.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence played 3 touchdowns and 3 interceptions, though. I don't know how many of those were his fault, though. I didn't watch that entire game.
They weren't good.
Okay.
They weren't good.
Engram had 2 touchdowns. Washington had a touchdown and a fumble, and Williams had an interception on the Jaguar side. Flacco did okay. 26 of 45, 311 yards, 3 touchdowns and an interception. Hunt got a touchdown, and Njoku got 2 touchdowns. And Flacco is actually named the starter now for the Browns for the rest of the season. Unless somehow one of their quarterbacks gets healed miraculously. But I highly doubt that.
Way to go, Flacco.
Way to go, Flacco. And now he's in a Browns uniform and it looks really, really weird.
I unfortunately have to root for you to lose, but good job, bud.
Panthers and Saints. Another game that I wasn't surprised.
Bryce Young started 1 for 8.
I didn't even see that. Was it that bad?
That was something I wrote down when I looked over, and I'm like, this guy's completed 1 out of 8 passes.
Hubbard was the only player on that team that actually got points, or not points,
Yards.
decent yards, and that was 87. That was it. Saints had an A field day-ish. Carr, 18 for 26, 119, 2 touchdowns, interception. Kamara got 56 yards of the touchdown. Olave, 4 for 5, 28 yards, a touchdown. Graham got 2 for 2, 1 yard and a touchdown. I assume one of those was in the end zone. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I have that wrong. 4 sacks. Did you see the price on some of those tickets?
Was it like $10?
The cost for some of the tickets at that game was cheaper than a cup of coffee. There were some selling for $5 or $7.
I'd go for $5 or $7.
I would too.
I'd go and wear a Panthers jersey just as a joke.
Yeah, Panthers, baby, ride or die.
That's one of those it's a good Jim Halpert joke where it's just it's like it's like a mild inconvenience in someone's life, but you only spend like $12 to take part in it, and you're just like,
might as well. Then for some reason, Carr and his O lineman Eric McCoy got into like a altercation on the field, just verbal, wasn't any fighting. I don't know what was going on there, but that was about it. The game wasn't all that exciting. Besides that,
I noticed when the game. Like halfway through the game, that Taysom Hill was inactive, and my rant from last week just didn't matter because I was like,
"Wow!"
They luckily, they did.
They played the Panthers.
They did what they've been doing, which is most of the year, which is whenever they don't rely on Taysom Hill to carry the offense, their defense wins them the game.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily, the Panthers are a really good team to play against when you need that to happen. Oh, God! Speaking of defensive games, bad offensive games. Anyways, I think you know which one I'm talking about coming up, but
Texans and Jets. If Texans had a healthy wide receiver core and Stroud didn't get taken out of that game, they would have won it, I think.
Did you know that at half, Houston's team passing yards were at -4, with losing 32 yards of those passing yards to sacks?
like I said, they are down their starting quarterback and their whole wide receiver.
This was the
core.
first half. Stroud was still in. He went down in the fourth.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
This was just, it was not good.
Like
Just-
I said, his receivers were backups. They
This sounds like an O-line issue, but I will say, like I've said, Jets have a really good defense.
Oh yeah, I know they've
And-
had a good defense. It's just I didn't think it
Also-
would be that bad.
To be fair, Zach Wilson actually played pretty well
Yeah.
for like the second or third time in his
Yeah.
career.
27 for 36, 301 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a fumble. Hall had a crazy day. 40 rushing yards, 8 for 9 passing yards or receiving yards, 86 yards, and 1 receiving touchdown. Also, before the game even started, Wilson knew that the Jets were going to trade him after the season ended.
They announced that?
They announced it during the game, I think.
That's stupid. I think it is going to be good for Zach Wilson and probably the Jets because I don't think they'll be able to figure it out. If I was a part of the Jets organization, I think that's stupid because you have someone who has potential and you just haven't figured out how to help him use it. So do your job better.
I think it's everyone's a problem kind of thing, but that's just me.
I think I would be interested to see if he gets a chance to start somewhere, or if
He might get a backup position. I don't think he'll be a starter.
I'd hate to see him get like the Trubisky treatment because Trubisky at least got 3. He didn't even get traded, did he? His contract I think just expired.
I think so, yeah.
But man, that draft
We'll
class.
see with that. Then we got the Rams and the Ravens. I think I said this was gonna be a close game or a closer game than most, but it was an exciting win. It was the 4th overtime victory in NFL history that ended on a punt return touchdown, I believe.
That's
NFL
interesting
history.
because we had one earlier this year.
No, you didn't. Did you?
Not the Ravens, just the NFL.
Oh, okay.
Week 1, the Jets against the Bills.
That's what it was. Okay. I was like, something feels weird. Anyways, Stafford didn't do terrible. He didn't have any picks. 3 touchdowns.
Yeah,
23
defense.
for 41.
Our defense struggled. We brought Marlon Humphrey played for the first time in a month.
Yeah.
So.
Jackson didn't do too bad. 24 for 43, 316, 3 touchdowns and an interception.
Offense was working.
Beckham was the best player on that day besides Jackson.
Dude,
Revenge game.
I was waiting. I've been waiting for him to kind of start to get back because I thought I've had a feeling that it's not that he's been washed, but that he just needs to warm back up into it. And because I think he still has some of that.
He still got
talent.
some that he still has some of the burst.
Because I'm there's no way that guy's has lost all of that. If you watch where he was 5-6 years ago, I'm there's no way all of that's gone. And I'm just I'm hoping that he kind of just continues to get back to that because since the beginning of the year, he's consistently just slowly, but he's just been getting better.
He's getting back into form. I think.
And
he's also coming off an injury as well. So
yeah, he has his reasons.
yeah.
But I'm super pumped if it keeps going. I'm super pumped what we do in the playoffs then.
Yeah. I mean, he's probably going to be one of the receivers to throw to all the time.
Yeah, maxed out with Zay Flowers. That's pretty good.
Mm-hmm. There was a slight controversy with the block in the back, the missed penalty on the block in the back, but I didn't see one that was that should have been a penalty. Unless I was looking at the wrong one, but I don't think I was.
I believe there was, from what I've heard, it sounds like people wanted it on the punt return that won the game.
That's what I mean, on that play.
Yeah. I think I know where it is. First of all, it was really nice return.
Yeah, 76 yards.
He had a 76 yards. It was a tightrope, and he recovered from a stumble.
Yeah, I'm surprised he
was-
recovered from that one to begin with. That was hard to come back.
It was a good run, and that was only his like fourth return.
Yeah,
that was a pretty good one. But yeah, there was a block. It from what I saw, it seemed like it was a back end of the shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
But the way he hits him and how hard he hits him and how hard the guy falls, watching it full speed and not paying attention to that, and you're like watching the guy.
Yeah.
Just like if you're not paying attention to that, you see him fly down, and it's just like, whoa, that looked like that might have been a penalty. But like looking back at it, I didn't think
I didn't see anything.
But
maybe I'm just really blind, which I'm not blind, but I'm definitely dumb.
Well, I don't know. As far as missed calls, I think that's more dismissible. I'm gonna get a lot of hate for
that's whatever.
Just being like a homer or whatever, but I think it was fine.
Vikings and Raiders, shoot them both into the sun. I do not ever want to see them return to the plane of existence.
Okay, but here's the thing: Raiders are not really in contention for a playoff spot.
No.
They are playing to prove that they can win games. That's like they're playing to prove that we are not a garbage organization and we can fix this. And like this is what we are.
But they're also coming off a tenure where their head coach was fired.
Yeah, that's the point. Is they're bringing in this new guy, and it's like we're not garbage. We can win. It was him. He was the issue, and some other issues. But they're just trying to be competitive, and they're doing a good job. Vikings are playing for a playoff spot. They're playing for their freaking life right now, and that's what you put out there. And they had Justin Jefferson back.
Well, Jefferson actually went down.
Yeah, but
I have a friend who's a Vikings fan. I just have to go up to him and be like, "You're not going to go anywhere this year. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you have to live with that, but Vikings have not been good this year, so I don't want to admit it to him, but he'll probably see this and be like, why the heck did you just say the Vikings are trash? I'm like, well, I mean, have you seen their offense lately? It's been really bad, especially with Dobbs in the center. So, I mean, that's what happens when you don't have Cousins. So, Seahawks and 49ers, a lot closer than I thought it would be, but I was not surprised the Niners did pull off the victory. Stat-wise, Log didn't do awful. 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Metcalf had a touchdown. Parkinson got a touchdown. 3 sacks. Love had an interception. But Metcalf kind of had it coming to him. He kind of initiated a brawl during that game.
He did. Who? With,
I don't remember who it was. I think it was
Fred
with
Warner.
Yeah, it was with Warner. Yeah, because he suplexed Warner. And then Metcalf also broke his helmet holder after slamming it. And then also the punter, I think it was the punter or the placeholder for the Niners was in sign language was like 14. You fucked around and found out or whatever it was, something like that. I'm like, honestly, that's a good way to get back at somebody.
I was looking at McCaffrey stats on the year, and I did not notice that he went off in this game. He had 146 yards.
45, yeah.
145. And that's his best on the year, I think.
Yard-wise, yeah.
I was like, damn. I didn't realize he went off that hard. I
Yeah.
saw the 145. I was
Samuel
like,
also had 7 for 9, 149 yards with a touchdown. Kittle also got a touchdown that day.
The offenses.
Yeah.
Even though they only got 28, which has been like the lowest for a couple weeks. But
Niners are in a good place. They're the first seed. I honestly think the Niners could possibly win out. I think, if I looked at their schedule correctly.
Well, I think either way, with the team like the 49ers, they could win out.
Yeah, they're like the team to beat. It's hard to discount that. And then you have all those freaking Cowboys fans who are like, we're the team to beat. No, Niners are Niners are by a long shot. I can't think of a better team right now in the NFL than the Niners.
Yeah, but I think.
But guess who they play on Christmas?
Oh, I know who that.
Did you have it marked on your
I have
calendar?
I want to get in. I want to get into it later.
So.
You get to the Super Bowl and then you play an NFC team. Then it matters.
Ravens go to Super Bowl.
Ravens going Super Bowl.
Act like you're an intrigue. Bills and Chiefs. I got some. I have a stance on that game. However, we're gonna go through stats first before we go too crazy on that. Allen did pretty well for other games to be compared to. 23 for 42, 333 yards, 1 pass touchdown, 1 rushing touchdown, interception. I saw the interception, which it was kind of like it's just a normal interception for him. Cook did pretty well. 58 rushing yards, 83 receiving yards, and a touchdown. That's all on the Bills side. 1 sack, had an interception. Chiefs side, Mahomes, 25 for 43, 271 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. McKinnon, 19 yards and a touchdown. Kelsey had 6 for 10 and 83 yards. I should have started Rice in fantasy. 7 for 10, 72 yards, a touchdown, and 1 fumble. Connor had an interception. So Bills players were like in the tunnel and everything. And then for some freaking reason, Taylor Swift had to be in the tunnel when she's supposed to be up in the box. I don't know if that's just the way.
She usually goes through the tunnels.
Did she go through the tunnel? Okay, I didn't.
She usually.
I haven't been to
I
haven't been to Arrowhead Stadium. I don't know if that's like how you get up there.
I don't know why.
I'm sorry, I didn't know if that was the
Bills side. That was the thing that confused me. I saw her.
Was it on the Bills side?
Because in weeks that she has been there, I've seen her in like the tunnel and stuff because she's walked with Travis sometimes.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I've seen her in the tunnels, but never have I seen her like walking behind the opponent team. I'm just like, that's kind of that. Okay.
The Bills players were like, oh, that's Taylor Swift. Okay, whatever.
They just turn around. They're like,
yeah, it's whatever, guys. I assumed Allen had a pep talk about
Travis's girlfriend.
It's
It's that one chick.
It's that one chick that happens to be really popular with mid-ass songs. Yeah, I said it.
What?
Recent ones. Her old stuff is really good. I don't like her new stuff.
Leave me out of this. I'm not arguing with.
Come on, Swifties.
I'm not going to war with Swifties. Nuh-uh.
Or later in the game, the D-line coach Colin, he slammed his tablet to the ground after like talking with Chris Jones for a little bit, and looked like a really heated argument. That's all like during the game, and then we get to the end of the game. Mahomes. I have stood by the notion that you can be and are a pretty humble person for the most part. I like watching you play. I think you have an amazing talent. And I just wrote a paper how you could and probably will pass Brady if you still go on the trend you're going right now, stat-wise. And then you did what you did that game. Okay, the one thing I hated about Tom Brady was the fact that he constantly whined towards officials. And most of the time it wasn't towards officials, and then when he did, it just was very classless, and I was just like, come on, Brady. Most of the time he would yell at his receivers and everything. Mahomes didn't yell at his receivers. He just went straight for the ref. And the thing is that I looked at the pictures, I looked at certain angles and everything. Tony was definitely offsides. From the I reffed flag football. If an official cannot see the center snap that ball, that's technically offsides. You cannot dispute that. Even though I know we have technology, we can make imaginary lines on the TV screen. But if the referee cannot see the center, that is offsides.
Yeah,
I don't care
it's
who
the
is.
rule.
It is literally the rule. I did like the trick play though. That was a pretty well designed play. I will give him that. That was Kelsey was thinking there. And I thought, they were going to win that. And then they didn't because it was a fair call right in the moment. That's fine. Fans of Kansas City could not believe that they couldn't get away with another game like that. So they were just whining and whining and whining on social media. And I looked at all of that. I'm like, you guys can't seem to recognize that you guys have been bailed out by officiating for the past 2 to 3 years. And now you finally get your comeuppance, basically. I need to see an apology from Mahomes to Allen. I don't care if it's like over text or if it's in person. I need him to apologize to Allen. You do not, and I mean you do not go up to a player after post game and complain about the officiating to your opponent who has lost to you in several playoff games. Allen has lost really badly in some cases, and he cannot win in overtime. We can agree on that. I mean, I love Allen, but he is not great in the playoffs sometimes.
He's had the rough end of the stick.
Yeah, he has had the rough end of the
between
stick.
those two. So yeah, for what is this the first time Allen's beaten Mahomes?
No, he's beaten Mahomes before, but this is like the first time in like a while it's been. Like he's beaten him once.
Give the guy some credit.
And the thing is that Allen and Mahomes, both players did, I think, fine this game. They were playing their hearts out. I understand the frustration that one call didn't go your way, but that does not excuse you to act so childish towards your opponent that you just lost to and be like, that was the worst freaking call I've ever seen and everything. I'm not using language there because he said words like 3 times. But I want an apology towards Allen because that was unprofessional. You do not do that at all in any circumstance. You just say, good game. You played your heart out. We'll see you around. The game's over.
Even if it was the wrong call, people lose off of bad calls all the time.
Yeah.
You do not go to the other person and complain. They can come to you and be like, that was a bad call. Like, I hate to see it go that way. And you could be like, yeah, but you do not. That is how that should go. Yeah. Is you let the other person come and address it. You should, as a professional, your job is not to go up to them and go, that was dumb. We should have beaten you, but I guess you won, so whatever.
Yeah. Reed calling out officiating for it's embarrassing for the NFL. No, you guys embarrassed yourselves on live TV because of how you handled that. I understand it didn't go your way, but you do not act like that in a professional standing.
Did you see the Kelsey and Kincaid jersey swap?
Yeah, I did see a picture of that. Yeah.
That was one of the. They were like apparently they had met. Was it in like over summer?
It was like
spring
it was
break
in the summer or something like that.
Was it like camps? Summer camp or
something like that.
And they were getting along.
Yeah.
And then there was the video of them engaging during the
jersey swap.
The jersey swap. And Kincaid's standing there, and he's like, they signed each other's jerseys and gave him, and he's standing there, and he's like that. And then Kelsey's there, and he's just, I'm like, bro, get, come on. It's just
I couldn't tell if it was like he was upset and trying to be like cool, you know, or if he was just upset. Like, I can't tell. Broncos and Chargers. Herbert got injured.
Yes, he did. The Chargers brought in their
stick,
lifelong backup toy, whatever you want to call him.
Stick.
An Easton Stick. They love their stick. He's been there for like ever. I think they extended him as a backup.
Overall, the game wasn't too exciting. Williams and Sutton got a touchdown each.
Dude, Sutton consistently has been good.
I've been putting him on my bench. That's a mistake I've been making.
He's made like one like good grab for a touchdown like every single week. I'm like,
yeah. And then Eckler got a touchdown. Johnston was actually leading receiving yards that game with 91 yards, 3 for 4. Eagles and Cowboys. I'm not surprised. I mean, it's hard to win in Dallas, especially with a crazy fan base like that. Hurts didn't do so hot that game. Brown was the lead receiver with 94 yards. Swift had 39 rushing yards. Prescott had 24 for 39, 271 yards, two touchdowns, and a fumble. Dowdle, or whatever you pronounce that, 46 yards and a touchdown. Lamb had 6 for 10, 71, and a touchdown. Gallup had 3 for 5, 48 yards and a touchdown. So Gallup is back. 1 sack only for the Cowboys, which is really weird.
Can we just I know we've had our talks about the MVP race. Can we throw Brandon Aubrey in there though? Can we have
a kicker as MVP before another wide receiver gets one? No, never mind. The wide receiver.
Can we have a wide receiver before
can we have a wide receiver before a kicker?
Which obviously actually seems like completely backwards, but
yeah, here we are though. But
he's 30 for 30. He nailed.
I think he might be the best kicker, or at least
this year.
This year,
I will say this year
he's probably the best one.
He's 30 for 30, and he nailed 2 from beyond 59, which is the first time that has been done in a game.
Yeah, which is impressive. I will give him that. Bills are hot right now. You got to beat Miami or the Detroit Lions, because one of those teams is going to be really, for some reason, hot that week or whatever it is when you play them. So you got to beat them. And I don't know which ones are away and which ones are home for them, but also I don't have any fear that you'll not beat the Commanders. Commanders are just bad this year, so we watched these 2 games live. Titans and Dolphins and Packers and Giants.
Who choked worse?
Dolphins did, because Titans scored, 2 touchdowns in 2 minutes and 40 seconds. It was I looked.
They scored
their
first one. They scored the first one with 2 minutes and 40 seconds left.
But then the winning touchdown was within the last.
They got the ball back and scored.
Yeah,
again within.
My point still stands. Dolphins choked worse, I think. Not a lot of stats in that game. Levis, 23 for 38, 327 yards, a touchdown, interception, and a fumble. Henry got 2 touchdowns. Hopkins got a touchdown, 124 receiving yards, 5 sacks for the Titans. And this might be the reason why they won. Former Titans tight end Frank Wycheck, the hero of the Music City Miracle play, he died actually. So at 52. So it was recent. I don't know how recent it was. It was earlier this week. So 52. So I pray for his family, but yeah. I remember watching that replay. Not that replay, but I remember looking at watching a bunch of NFL highlights from years past and everything, just on YouTube and everything. I would see that once in a while. And I'm like, that's cool play. Sure, it was controversial at the time, but Packers and Giants. DeVito continues to make his case for starting position. 17 for 21, 158 yards, a touchdown. Sure, not a whole lot, but it does the job. Barkley had 2 touchdowns. Hodgins had a touchdown. Love, however, 25 for 39, 218 yards, a touchdown, an interception, and a fumble. Reed had a touchdown, 38 yards receiving. Heath had 6 yards and a touchdown. Packers and Giants were sloppy on special teams for a bit. I don't know why. Packers specifically, it's always been a trend with them. But, yeah, they were good games to watch for the most part. Disappointing how they ended, or at least for the...
Pretty chaotic.
What?
Pretty chaotic.
I would say pretty chaotic as well. I agree. It's just, Dolphins need a win. Packers need a win if they want to stay in the playoff contention. And yet here they are losing.
Mm-hmm.
So, don't look now, but the Bills are only 2 games behind Packers, I think, yeah, they're still third in division because Vikings are 7-6 still. I don't know how they have 7 wins.
It's
I
okay. It's they're approaching their tougher stretch. Well, they have 3 out of their last 4 division games.
Okay.
So it'll be
Oh boy.
and none of them are the Bears. So
Fair.
that division will kind of settle itself out. I just want to say I have 7 out of my top 10 power ranking teams from last week lost.
It happens. Like it's not. It's like
They were not pretty losses either. Some
Oh,
of them
no, they
were
weren't.
bad.
so things just got moved around.
Yeah, a lot of moving. So, just keep it short. 49ers won, obviously.
Yeah.
No doubt.
They're the team to beat.
Ravens 2.
It's fair.
Cowboys 3. Eagles 4. Just switch
Yeah.
that.
I think I agree with that.
Dolphins down to 5 because
I want to say they're a little bit lower, but that's just.
I wanted to put them lower, but like it didn't feel fair to put them lower. And the Titans did play pretty well. Their defense played very well.
They were lights out. They were there.
Very good defense. So I could just, and it was also hard to put, again, or 7 other top 10 teams of mine that lost. So it's hard to.
Yeah, that's also fair.
So,
We
6 I kind of skyrocketed, but I put the Bills up at 6.
Okay, I don't disagree, but I also. It's just
It's a little high.
the Bills are hot. They're getting hot at the right time. However, I don't know if they're as good as years past, but if they continue to have the streak that they do, I trust them to, do something in the playoffs, especially if they end off with like a 9-8 record or something like that, which is still possible for them. But we'll see.
And then 7 Lions. Kind of wanted to drop them lower, but again, hard to do.
Yeah.
Chiefs. Broncos are back up in the top 10 for me. And
Honestly, I don't blame you for putting the Broncos in the top 10.
they looking like they're ready for playoffs.
Well,
And then
Broncos are only a game back now.
I kept the Jags in at 10 over the Browns.
I mean, I would rather have the Jaguars in there than like another team because
It would have been the
good.
Browns. It would have been the Browns if it was someone else.
Okay, well,
And which maybe I should have put the Browns in because they beat.
I don't know. I feel like they're interchangeable because the Browns just did beat the Jaguars, but the Jaguars were also not that great that day.
Yeah, and
They also have lost a couple games in a row, so
yeah, it's gonna be
it'll be interesting going forward. I'm curious.
their schedule is like one tough game and then their schedule kind of lightens up.
Raiders and Chargers. Raiders. I don't know.
Raiders.
I don't think the Chargers will win without Herbert. So Bengals and Vikings. Bengals.
Bengals.
I don't trust the Vikings ever. Steelers and Colts. I'm gonna say Colts because Steelers have not been looking that good. If the Steelers win, it's because of high end talent, and that's it. Broncos and Lions.
Broncos.
I'm gonna have to go with the Broncos this time. Lions surprised me, but I'm choosing the Broncos. Bears and Browns. I'm gonna say Browns.
I'm going Bears.
That's fair. Honestly, I don't blame you. They're getting hot at the right time. Even though they're not going to be in playoff contention, I don't feel like. But they can make a push. Let's see here. Buccaneers and Packers. Ooh, I don't know. Oh, Buccaneers are visiting Packers. I think Packers, maybe.
Yeah, that's a good point. I went with Packers, but I think that it's December, played in Green Bay. You're coming from Tampa Bay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're not going to win there. Texans and Titans. Oh, with the Titans' performance as of late.
Sorry.
You're good. With the Titans and Texans, with the Titans' performance,
Titans are just scrappy.
They're scrappy. They can
They're
do it
not-
well.
Good, but they're
No.
scrappy.
Texans, I would be concerned if Nico Collins doesn't come back, and same with Stroud. I hope they are both okay, and I think they should be fine and should be clear to go. I must take the Texans on a slight edge here, but it might be a lot closer than people think it will be. Jets and Dolphins. Oh,
I'm going Dolphins.
we're gonna go Dolphins.
Yeah, that one's pretty easy for me just because I think Dolphins are.
But good Jets defense, right? You've been saying that for weeks. So why are you picking the Dolphins this time?
They've had a good defense all year. That doesn't mean they've been winning games.
Yeah, but the Dolphins have a good offense, right? So how will that play out then?
It doesn't matter if again, Jets have a good defense. That doesn't mean they're going to win games, though. They still have to do stuff on offense, and they haven't proved that they can.
Okay.
Dolphins offense is kind of like the Cowboys defense, where it does really good against bad opponents. But against good opponents,
Yeah.
it kind of doesn't look fantastic.
Okay.
But their defense has stepped up, kind of like the Cowboys' offense has stepped up.
All right.
They're kind of like counterparts, which is
And I do agree
why
with
them
the
playing
Dolphins'
is gonna be
offense is pretty
really
good.
interesting.
So I'm gonna say for my sake the Dolphins, but I also wouldn't be surprised if the Jets somehow pull this victory off. Chiefs and Patriots. Chiefs.
I'd like to see the Patriots make it close, but
That'd be kind of funny.
give them a little bit of offense.
Yeah,
Although it is
scare them a little bit.
It is the Chiefs, but they did just play the Steelers.
Steelers aren't good,
Their defense is good. They have a good defense.
but as a whole, Steelers aren't as good.
no, well, but
Um,
the Chiefs' offense isn't good either.
But their defense is good.
So is the Steelers.
But the Chiefs have more weapons on offense than the Steelers do on offense.
Yeah, but they don't catch the ball.
They can produce more offense, is my point. That's what I'm saying, is that the Chiefs have a better offense overall than the Steelers do. Giants and Saints. I'm going to say Giants is a wild card.
I was so tempted to pick the Giants. I was so tempted. I don't remember why I went with the Saints, but I went with the Saints.
I think you just
I-
want chaos in the tank division.
No, I think I went I think what I went with was watching the Giants. I think they're going to make enough mistakes that the Saints can capitalize, because that's how the Saints won against the Panthers, was capitalizing off of mistakes, especially on
Yeah,
the
but
defensive
it wasn't
side.
also... Yeah, that's fair.
So I think that's just, if they can do that again, I think that's what it's going to be. I think Saints just need to not make a lot of mistakes, because the Giants are sloppy.
Falcons and Panthers. Falcons.
Yeah.
That's pretty self-explanatory. Commanders and Rams. I'm Rams. Rams by
Rams.
a long shot. Niners and Cardinals. Gee, I wonder who wins this game.
Niners. Although
Uh,
I think Cardinals could make it close.
Cardinals will try to make it close. They've got passion.
I could see like a 30
Like a 33 to like 17.
33 20.
Yeah, that's fair. Cowboys and Bills. Bills are my upset
I'm also picking the Bills.
because it's at Buffalo in December, where it's where it
Snow
might
game? Wait.
snow game.
Is it-
So I'm gonna say Bills.
I'm also saying Bills regardless.
Ravens and Jaguars.
Ravens. I don't know.
I'm gonna say Ravens
I
as
don't know how
well.
much I have to actually.
However, don't be surprised if Jacksonville tries to make it close or pulls off a really weird victory,
I expect them to try and make it close.
which I think they will.
but-
I'm just saying that don't be surprised if Jacksonville.
as long
does
as we
win
don't
this.
shoot ourselves in the foot, I think.
I
we'll
don't
be
think you
okay.
will. I just think it will be a good. I wouldn't say heavyweight battle, but heavyweight enough where it's like blow for blow. Who's going to survive this one? Kind of like what you did with the Rams. Kind of.
Yeah, I think the Rams played better than the Jags have been playing.
That's true. And also, I mean, to be completely fair, Lawrence did come back from an injury.
It was a high
So-
ankle sprain, which is why I was surprised, and I
Yeah.
honestly probably, for their sake, would have preferred CJ
Just
Beathard to play.
Beathard to play, yeah.
Actually-
but here we are.
I would have preferred Nathan Rourke to play because I saw that man in preseason and I liked him. He was fun.
I don't watch the preseason enough. I need to watch this.
He was making some wild throws in the preseason, and they
that's what we saw with Thompson on the Browns.
which is why I like to see it. That's why I'm like, put
Oh my God, can we have him play more?
You should
And then he got injured. So
put him in.
then finally, Eagles and Seahawks.
Eagles.
Bruh,
It was tough because Eagles.
It
are
is
kinda on a
at
slide.
Seattle.
Eagles are kind of on a slide right now, but it's against tough teams. They didn't look good against either of them.
No, they've also been off, and I don't know what it is. I think it's mostly on offense that they've not been clicking, because Brown has not been doing a whole lot. Hurts has been kind of mediocre lately.
Yeah, offense
So-
struggling. I think they're gonna.
I would
it
like to
off.
think it's just a fluke, but then again, it's hard to tell at this point of the time. So, also, I mean, you can't predict the future. You can try to predict the future, but you can't be
You can.
accurate.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's what we try to. So that's all for predictions.
Yeah. Now we're gonna go into a special segment that I wanted to do.
Special segment.
Special
segment.
With 4 weeks left in the regular season, we have very hectic playoff picture coming out of this. We have 10 AFC teams that are either 8-5 or 7-6. We have teams like the Giants and the Bears in the NFC who still have a chance to make it. We have the three-way tie in the NFC South. Like you mentioned, the Bills are only 2 games behind the Dolphins.
Mm-hmm.
The Bengals are still in it. Browns and Steelers are still in it, and it's like, and it begged the question in me is just like, what if we looked at the last couple games for each team and kind of just like made a guess at to who we think wins what games and finishes where. And it just shows that some of these teams have really tough roads to the playoffs.
It's hard to predict because some teams are either they're going to be really bad or they're going to be really good. It's hard to tell at this point because it's like, what are we doing here? Because everyone's losing. But without looking at the games, or I shouldn't say that, without thinking about what could change in the next few games, as of right now, in this point in time, I think the 3 wildcard spots in the AFC will go to the Broncos, the Browns, and the Bills. I think those are going to be the wildcard spots for the AFC. NFC, however, I have no idea because it is chaotic in the lower seeds.
It's very chaotic.
Because I don't know who would win. I would like to see who's in the picture right now? Because I know the Vikings and the Packers are in there. Who's the 5th seed right now? Don't remember.
Eagles?
Oh yeah, Eagles are the 5th seed. Yeah, I forgot.
Eagles or Cowboys, whoever.
Yeah. I think it's interchangeable there. But basically, it's either going to be Eagles or Cowboys in that 5th spot. The final 2, I think, might actually end up being, I don't know. It's hard to predict from right now. But because of December, Packers and Rams. I'm going to say Packers and Rams take those final 2 spots.
You're going to say Packers, Rams?
Mm-hmm. And then for the NFC South, because it's currently a 3-way tie, it depends on who gets hot at the right moment. I want to say the Falcons. However, I do not trust Arthur Smith and his coaching ability, especially with how he treats Robinson and Pitts. But I will say Saints are not as good as I thought they would be this year.
Mm-mm.
And the Bucks kind of gotten it back together a little bit, kind of. So I want to go with the Falcons, but the Bucks and the Saints are not far behind. So in this current state, I want to say Falcons, but I will probably change that in the future because of certain situations, because the NFC South is literally a tank division. It's also not the fun tank division. I like the 2021 where it was all the NFC East was utter trash, and somehow the Washington football team won that division. Remember that? That was a wild year.
It was when the Cowboys didn't have any defense.
No. Well, they also lost Dak that year.
They did, but, that wasn't going to save them.
No, it wasn't at that point.
Dude, okay, I think I see a plot twist coming in mind, though, from the numbers that I'm looking at.
Okay.
And I think it might cause you to facepalm, but
I've already facepalmed about a couple of things you've already said tonight, so don't worry. Don't worry about that. I've also facepalmed about a couple of things I've said already too. So, so now this is just a contest of how much will piss me off because
that really is.
Can you get me to the boiling point?
I could. So
how much will you take me off of this?
Crunched the numbers of how I think the next 4 weeks will go. Some of them are like I'm not super confident on. So that it kind of I think it more affects the upper seeds. Some of the lower ones, some funky stuff happened that I went with some chaotic stuff that kind of put some people in there that we'll see how you feel. My 1 seed in the AFC came out to be the Baltimore Ravens.
Wow, what a shocker!
But actually, comfortably, there's only one game. Well, Ravens have one of the potentially most difficult final schedules. I think top 3 out of the teams left.
That's fair.
They play
So
Jacksonville, 49ers, Dolphins, Pittsburgh, which Pittsburgh just isn't.
I think Pittsburgh is the easiest one. Jacksonville's the next easiest.
It's a division rival, so it's for Ravens, the Steelers are not a fun team for the Ravens to play.
They won 10 games this year. That's all they need to get to a playoff berth.
Who, the Ravens?
Yeah, the Ravens.
Oh yeah,
so they're fine.
They'll be fine. They're even if they lose,
they lose out. They're still in the playoffs.
If they lose one of those, I still have them at the 1 seed because
I don't know who else would take it at that point.
My 2 seed was came out to be the Chiefs at 12-5. Miami was I also had Miami at 12-5, and Chiefs won head to head because they beat them.
Yeah, because they beat them earlier.
Chiefs schedule is not difficult really. They play the Patriots, the Raiders, the Bengals, and then the Chargers.
I think the Bengals will give them a run for their money.
And I considered having them beat them, but it's just the Chiefs. Like we said, the Chiefs defense is really good.
I still think 10-7 or 11-6 is possible for the Chiefs. It's just who are they going to lose to? But
they could lose to. I could see them losing to one of the division rivals and the Bengals.
Yeah.
But looking at it, I wouldn't predict that, so I'm sticking with 12-5. And then Miami at 3. They have Jets, Dolphins, Ravens, Bills, and I had them beating Jets, beating Dallas, losing to the Ravens, beating the Bills. Which, we'll see how that'll affect stuff later. And then 4 Jaguars, losing to the Ravens, but then beating Buccaneers, Panthers, and Titans. They have after the Ravens, they're kind of off scot-free. They just got to beat the Titans, and I think, honestly, they're fine.
Yeah, they'll probably have the division clinched by then, honestly.
Yeah, so they have it pretty easy.
All right, who are your
my wildcard teams?
Wild cards.
5th seed, I have the Broncos.
I'm not upset about that.
At 11-6.
At 11-6.
Because I have them beating the Lions, and the rest of their schedule is Patriots, Chargers, Raiders.
They're gonna at least lose one of those games, but I think 11-6 is egregious.
Well, you say that, but it's like after the Lions, who right now are beatable, and I already am predicting them to win anyways. Is like after that, the other games are not hard. Those teams have been
Yes,
kind of shambles.
but all teams will lose one or two games a season that they're like, oh, we should win this game, and they don't win that game.
I think
So.
they've had most of those.
Earlier in the season, it's like, oh, we thought they were bad. No, they're good.
I don't know. That's what I have them. I have them finishing off strong.
I don't think 11-6 is possible, but I don't know.
Either
Maybe
way,
it is. Maybe it is. I don't know.
I'm not saying they're going to win the division.
No, they're not going to. It's just it'd be funny if they did.
This is according to the calculations. Apparently, 6th seed comes out to be the Browns.
Okay.
I'm not happy about it. I had other teams I would have rather seen in
be
there.
quiet. I would rather have the Browns in there than other teams like the Steelers.
Oh no, it would not have been the Steelers. The Steelers.
Oh, I know. That's what I'm saying. I'd rather have the Browns.
Steelers, I actually have, because their schedule and how they've been playing, I actually have Steelers for the first time in Mike Tomlin's history actually having a losing record. I think they might
Good,
win
because I think they will have a losing record.
with the predictions that I have them losing all of their last 4 games
Really?
because they play the Colts, who I don't think is really a great matchup. The Bengals,
No.
I don't like the matchup there. Seahawks and Baltimore, maybe they come away with 1 win, but they need 2 to get to over 500. And
That's fair.
I just think they're not really in a situation.
And if they do end up with a 9-8 season, it's not worth it.
No, 9-8 was not good enough to make the playoffs. There are I have a lot of 10-7 teams that didn't make the playoffs. There was like what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a 5-way tie at 10-7 is what I ended with. But yeah, Steelers ended. I have them finishing 7-10 because yikes. It's not like a super tough schedule, but the way they've been playing is. But yeah, 6 was Browns. Losing to Chicago, beating Houston, and New York. Wasn't that certain on that though. Those I could definitely see going the other way. And then and then losing to Cincinnati.
Okay.
In the last week. Yeesh. And then 7 seed being the Texans. Beating Tennessee, losing to Cleveland, beating Tennessee again, and then the Colts, which could be the other way around. If the Colts win, the Colts would actually get in over the Texans and actually would be the 6th seed over the Browns.
I think it depends on how this next week goes.
A lot of these teams play each other. That is the other interesting.
Yeah, that's another thing. It's just like a lot of these teams will depend on who plays who and how they play against a different team.
Because
I don't know. Next week will definitely determine that.
Houston plays Cleveland and Indianapolis. Indianapolis plays Pittsburgh and Houston. Browns are playing Houston, Cincy. AFC's all just like it's.
Yeah. I'm okay with it. It's just as long as the Steelers don't get it, I'm fine.
Yeah, it's just gonna come down to the last 4 weeks. But yeah,
'cause I don't want them to be a wild card spot that should have been someone else's.
Yeah,
And they just absolutely do not do anything at all,
so
which just happens every single year they're in there.
and then
All right.
Colts, Bengals, and Bills. I end up missing at 10-7, which were sad because those were all 3 teams I would have rather had over the Browns. But
That's fair.
that's not how the tiebreaker works out. And then
NFC?
NFC. So with how things worked out, I actually had the Eagles at the 1 seed. Going
Eagles at the 1 seed?
they purely because I had the Ravens beating the 49ers. 49ers finishing 13-4 as their only loss because one of those teams has to lose. And I can see I'm not saying that I'm like it's a lock. It's
You're just
there's a little bit of bias, yes.
I know there's the bias, but I don't think the 49ers will be lower. I think they might be the 1 seed.
I want them to be the 1 seed. Trust me. It's just like that's the only game they really have to worry about. Maybe the Rams. Other games are easy. But again, someone has to win between the Ravens and the 49ers. And
Yeah, that's
while I myself have been saying that 49ers are the best team, but I think there's a decent chance the Ravens could win that. And I'm kind of just leaning on the fact that Lamar has only lost one game against an NFC team, which,
yeah.
again, is kind of just circumstance.
It's a
but-
random stat, but it's interesting.
But it's like, I'm just kind of just leaning on that, and otherwise it's like to me it's a toss up because both teams have been good.
yeah, that's true.
So
That's fair, honestly.
yes, I'm a little bit biased, but and the reason why Eagles I have winning is because they play Seahawks, Giants, Cardinals, Giants. If they beat the Seahawks, they
Yeah,
kind of they could lose to the Giants once. It could happen,
that could.
but I wouldn't be too surprised if it happened. But I'm not
Oh,
gonna call that happening.
We'll see. It depends.
So I have Eagles at 1 at 14-3, 49ers at 2 at 13-4. It's okay. They'll beat whoever the 7th seed is. Oh, actually, you won't like this 2-7 matchup. Oh, which in the AFC, it would be Chiefs Texans as a 2-7. So I think you would actually enjoy that game.
Oh, yeah, I would enjoy that one.
You won't
If
enjoy
Texans
what I
are
have.
healthy.
You're not gonna like it. 3 Lions, 10-7, lose to Denver, beat Minnesota, lose to Dallas, beat Minnesota, or no, lose to Minnesota. So they win one against Minnesota, lose one against Minnesota. It might be flipped around, which I think honestly they'll probably
Yeah,
win
it can
the
be
second one.
debatable, yeah.
I think
Lions
Wait,
being
no.
3 doesn't upset me at all. It's just I don't know how they're going to perform with the rest of the season.
yeah, that's the concern is they have to actually figure it out. 4 seed for the team to win the NFC South. I had the Bucks.
Honestly, I don't care who wins that trash division. None of them are going to make it any farther than the playoff berth.
Yeah, just because apparently apparently it works out in their favor. They beat the Saints because I think Saints are gonna lose to the Buccaneers and the Falcons. And I think that's gonna kind of do them in. And then Atlanta apparently loses the tiebreaker from there. So yeah, Bucks. 5 Cowboys. Even though they have the division right now, they have a pretty tough slate as well. Playing the Bills, the Dolphins, the Lions, and then the Commanders.
Commanders are the Commanders, though.
But I have them losing to both the AFC East teams, and the Bills and the Dolphins, and
Yeah.
then beating the Lions, and then beating the Commanders, and then so they'll end up 2 games behind the Eagles because Eagles just have an easier schedule. So they would end up actually getting pitted against the Buccaneers. So-
Interesting.
Jesus. 6, I ended with the Packers at 9-8, beating the Buccaneers, the Panthers, and the Vikings, and then losing to the Bears, ending 9-8, and that would pit them
Yeah.
against the Lions.
Lions are beating the Packers.
Yeah, I think in January.
If the Packers get seeded, that seed. We'll see.
And then here's my chaos. You remember who I said still has a chance, right?
I think you said several teams, but I could be thinking
Well,
of several.
There was one that I was like, oh, I guess like statistically they have a chance. And then there was one where I was like, they have a chance with how they've been playing.
I don't know which one.
They have the Bears at 7.
Fuck no. No, the Bears do not
Dude.
have any shot at any place in the playoffs.
Okay.
They don't deserve to be there.
But I have here's
They've
why though.
improved, but not that much.
I have them beating the Browns already, and I have that as a realistic pick, not as just a like
Beating the Browns?
this week beating the Browns.
All right, we'll come back to that then.
But because that was my prediction for the week, and then Cardinals, they could beat the Cardinals.
They could
I
beat
think
the
that's going to be
Cardinals.
close.
Yeah.
The Falcons,
We'll see. We'll see. Like I said,
And then-
I'd rather have the Falcons win that division, but that's just me.
and then the Packers.
They might win 2 of those games, but I don't think they'll win more.
Yeah, but it's just like those are all with how if they can play like they've played recently. These are all those are all teams that I think the Lions beat.
Yeah.
And the Lions lost.
I just don't like the idea of 3 NFC North teams making it to the playoffs, which I don't think is even possible. Because if you're gonna say that does not make sense at any circumstance, in my opinion. Because it's just like I don't think the Bears should. In my opinion, they shouldn't even be in contention for the playoffs. They should be in contention for making sure they get the picks for next year, which they already kind of do. But that's just me. I don't think they have a chance at the playoffs. If they do somehow, for some weird and wacky reason, that they do make it to the 7th seed, they're going to get their butts handed to them by San Francisco. Like I said, they don't deserve to be. This is why I have a problem with the 7th seed. It's just there's just bad teams that go up. What?
But Texans, Chiefs.
If they get healthy, that's going to be the first 7th seed that will actually be interesting to watch.
Wasn't there one last year?
No, they were not good last year.
No, I mean, there was the Bills-Dolphins game last year.
Okay, it was at least close, but
they didn't even have Tua.
I know they didn't have Tua either. It's just I just hate because normally what happens is 7th seed teams are either teams that shouldn't be there or they somehow stumble in there without like a starting player or whatever, and they just get blown out. Or they keep it close like they did the Dolphins Bills, but that's about it.
See, the issue is that what we end up with 2 seeds that should really be 1 seeds.
Yeah.
And that's where you really run into an issue is because if you're like, this is why it works in the AFC is this is how it should be is the AFC this year. The AFC this year is exactly how the playoffs should be. Is your 7th seed is just a couple notches below, like, is just snuck in like a pile of teams. You know, just a little bit behind the 5 seed, but just managed to squeak into that 7 seed. And your 2 and 3 seed are like a step below your 1 seed, but like better than your 4 seed. It should be just as good as a 3 and 6. Maybe a little bit of disparity, but like a little bit more chaos.
I'm all for chaos, but it has to be good chaos. I don't like watching bad teams getting blown out in playoff contentions.
The NFC playoff would be bad with 6 teams.
The what?
The NFC playoff picture would be bad even with 6 teams.
Yeah,
because you'd end up with
this year.
If they went back to 6 for the NFC, it'd be Lions, Packers, Cowboys, Buccaneers. It's going to be bad either way.
Yeah,
it's just the NFC.
It's just NFC's just trash this year.
You got maybe 4 good teams.
And then in the AFC, half of them are either mediocre or they're actually good teams. And half of them are like, well, they're either good, mediocre, or I can't tell.
Most of them I can't tell.
What?
Most of them I can't tell.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is that most of them I can't tell.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. Ravens, I think, are good, but I don't know if they're like
good,
or if they're
that's
just
what
like.
I'm saying. I don't know if any AFC team like piques my interest. The only good team I can think of this year is the 49ers. That's what I'm saying.
Well,
they're the only solid team I can think of this year. They have everything.
They're the Cowboys, who I think.
Cowboys are still worse.
I'm not saying they're better than the 49ers.
I guess my point is that I don't think they're as complete. I think the 49ers are literally the definition of a Super Bowl team that will probably win the Super Bowl this year if they play their cards right. Then again, things have happened.
To be fair, though, I feel like you're holding a really high standard because I think this 49ers team compared to if you drop them at this point in any year past, they'd be clear Super Bowl favorites. clear Super Bowl favorites. They'd be far beyond any other team.
Yeah.
They've been like dominant this year. I think if you take the Eagles and put them in a year's past, they'd be like, that's a good team.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think it's just like there's so much competition, and they're like, the also issue is they're going against each other so much, and they're beating the shit out of each other, and it's just like, man, what is going on? It's like, it's so hard to judge what is happening because, I mean, 3 of the top 4 seeds in the AFC have all played each other.
That's also another thing.
All of the AFC North, who obviously played each other, they play each other each team, 6 times, whatever.
Oh my gosh, all of the AFC North are over 7 wins. Or
Yeah.
7 wins or more.
They're all in playoff contention, and they play each other that many times, and they beat the shit out of each other. And then you have Eagles, 49ers, and Cowboys, the 3 best teams in the NFC, have all played each other. Cowboys, Eagles twice.
Yeah.
And, like, yeah, and then the Lions, well, I don't know what's going on with the Lions. They're kind of just, like,
Hopefully they can click
laying
back
down and
into
dying.
the place.
But it's just, I think the scheduling has just been, the matchups this year have been crazy.
yeah.
Because it's just, how many times have you seen top seeds play each other so much?
I can't remember the last year it's been like that.
And also think, you even have the Dolphins who played the Broncos and beat them fucking 70-20.
Yeah.
And now you're looking at them and being like,
I think
I have
they
them won
beat
and
them
finishing
so
one game
bad that they turned their team around for them.
Oh, yeah. But it's just like,
I don't know
Y-
anymore,
it's-
man. I just
it's a crazy season, and I think it's just what happens when you have a lot of good talent, and it's talent that like shifts around because you just like some of the teams aren't complete, but the one side of the ball can carry them enough, or one side of the ball does something one week and the other side does it a different week.
it's just my issue is that there's a lot of games so far this year that have been really mediocre, and I agree with a couple people, specifically Brady, on this take, is that a lot of these games this year
have not been really watchable to the sense of like, yeah, I'm sitting through this game and watching the entire game. It's been hard actually this year. I've been finding myself like getting pretty distracted watching other things than the game because it's not engaging. Sure, it's like a good time to like go out and like go eat at like a restaurant and watch the games, but I don't want to settle for mediocre teams is my issue. That's what I have a problem with this year is that there's a lot of mediocre teams that do not deserve to be in the playoffs. But then again, who are you going to put in? I don't know. So I don't know. It's just what I have an issue with this year. But I liked chaos, but this is not the chaos I asked for.
Whoa. I think a lot of the issue is coaching.
Yeah, that's another thing.
Which is honestly why the Bears probably
mean,
won't make this.
Earlier this season there were like 10 coaches that were projected to be fired at the end of this season.
Yeah, and it's like
It's a lot. So
you have like the entire NFC South who, like, I think the only coach in the NFC South that keeps their job is whoever wins the division.
yeah, that's
I think the
pretty much
rest lose it. It's just there's a lot of bad coaching. I think there's a lot of really good talent in the NFL right now.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe more so than when Brady was in the league, but the coaching is just not great.
No.
You got a lot of bad you got a lot of really good coaches, hence the good teams. You got Eagles, 49ers. I won't give the credit to the Cowboys because McCarthy doesn't deserve that.
No.
That one I think is just purely talent.
That's all talent. McCarthy's been carried by talent his entire career. He's not a great coach. You can't change my mind.
I will stand by and say Harbaugh, Reed, McDaniels, Peterson,
yeah.
and those are your top seeds. Dan Campbell. Those are your top
Yeah.
seeds, and then everything else, your mediocrity, is
It's
is bad coaching, and even in some like the top seeds, like Nick Sirianni and Cal Shanahan is like also they're coaches that aren't really, none of them have won a lot
no.
in like playoffs. I mean, Sirianni has some, but like McDaniels, they're like younger coaches,
Yeah.
so they still got like learning to do. They're not like super experienced coaches, and so occasionally they're gonna have games where they call bad games.
Yeah.
So it's just it's a byproduct of bad coaching, but I think the NFL might have more talent. I think it is very talent loaded right now. And
Yeah.
we have pretty decent draft class coming in next year too, which is why it's like
We'll see how that will plan out because there is a lot of talent there that I'm curious to see where they go. But
I'm curious to just see who declares for the draft because now
half of
it's
them
like
I don't even know anymore.
yeah, it's like, oh, we're looking at like 10 really good quarterbacks. Who's actually going to the NFL though?
I think Drake is the only one who's been confirmed to go.
I saw that, but
That's about it, honestly. Everyone else is just up in the air, so we'll see.
yeah, mine is like, it's purely like prediction based, but some of the teams just like the Bills. I know the Bills have like 2 tough games, but it's like some teams have like tough roads. In Bengals still have 2 division games plus Chiefs. Texans have 3 division games.
Yeah.
And it's just like a lot of AFC South and AFC North teams playing each other, like intra-division and inter-division games. And then outside of that, it's just like the Dolphins have a kind of hectic schedule too.
Yeah.
There's some tough schedules right now.
I don't know anymore. I'm just kind of curious to see where it goes. I'm not really like, oh, I'm certain they're gonna win. It's more of,
I'm not saying
it's a
certain.
toss up at this point,
This is what I think might happen.
but it might not happen.
No,
That's the
I'm
thing.
if it does not, I wouldn't be surprised. I could see the Dolphins ending first, or the Chiefs ending first over the Ravens. I could see the Jaguars losing the division. I could see
If Texans are staying healthy and the Colts actually somehow pull wins out of the butt still. I don't know how they're winning, but they're winning.
there's the Cowboys can win the NFC East. 49ers definitely could win the division or the conference.
I think they
Um,
will.
Lions could lose the division, but they could also end as a 2 seed if they really wanted to.
We'll see. It depends on
and-
what other people do.
Any of the South teams can win in the NFC. It's like, that's the whole point of this. Is it's not like, oh, this is the most likely outcome. It is what I can see coming with remaining schedules, but like, there's a reason we picked these teams, or I picked these teams, is because I'm like these are all teams that can and have a pretty good likelihood of making it.
Yeah.
So that's why I want. That's the point of the segment. Is it's more of a just for fun
Yeah.
looking at.
Yeah, it's just I don't want to settle for mediocrity. I just want good games. That's all I want, man. I mean, it was a really interesting week, honestly. The games tonight were pretty fun. It's just I love and hate chaos at the same time, especially when it's the wrong teams that deserve or the wrong teams that don't deserve certain things. Such as why I have a vendetta against the Bears making the playoffs this year because they don't deserve it.
But chaos doesn't reward the deserving. Chaos rewards nobody. Chaos is chaos.
I know chaos is chaos, but you have to also be logical about certain things. While chaos is a fun factor, but you can't put it in every scenario, is my point.
Hey, don't tell chaos that. Chaos will prove you wrong.
It's fair.
Chaos will chaos that.
I don't know, man. We said chaos this year several times for the Huskers, and chaos never happened. So
No, we were about as boring as they came. We were the NFC South.
isn't that always the Big Ten West? Tank division? except we're not at professional. We're just bad all the time.
Yeah.
Iowa's never been good. I don't care what people say. Sure, they have a great defense and everything, but that is the only good thing about that.
They're like us, but like,
And then they're like, "Oh,
It's like-
imagine if they have an offense." I'm like,
imagine if we had an offense. That'd be crazy.
I wish we had just had a team.
Imagine if we didn't turn the ball over.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
I think we would actually have been to many bowl games if we just literally didn't change anything, just took turnovers away.
I wish we didn't trust Frost with every single play. Because, like, that's what killed us. At least for a while.
This is a dark hole we're going down.
I don't know.
I'm gonna let you just close out. 'Cause
Yeah, I mean,
I don't want
yeah.
to. I'm just gonna.
Thank you again for joining. This is week 14 recap, week 15 predictions. Playoffs are coming soon. I love and hate chaos. Love-hate relationship, but
I love it. Just
we will see what happens. I am confident certain things will happen, and I am not sure about other things, but we will find out soon. I'm going to get some sleep. I am so burnt out. I don't know about you, but I am burnt out. So, catch you later.